Hello and welcome to Taffy Crafting. My name's Donna. Thank you very much for stopping by. I've got quite a big project to show you today. It's a big one, and sometimes I like to buy for women that are you don't really know what to buy them for Christmas. So what I often do is just get them a treat, and they're selling these in lots of supermarkets at the moment. A big, huge bottle of bubble bath, and for me this would just be a lovely treat if somebody bought this for me. But I wasn't able to make a box big enough out of one sheet of paper, so I came up with something along with some inspiration from Angelina at Intertwined Designs, and I think she does something similar, and it just pops into the box like that, and then you get this big lid which fits on like that, bit of ribbon, a sentiment on the front, and then that's substantial enough to hold a present that's actually quite big and quite heavy. And I want to show you how I make that. So this is what we will need. You'll need some cardstock, just an A4 piece of cardstock. This is Whisper White. And then I've picked this from the Merry Little Christmas Designer Series paper pack. And this, I just absolutely adore this this design. It is double-sided, which I think just makes that even more luxurious, I think, because it's kind of got a lining. But I'm going to use that. And this, even though it's called Merry Little Christmas, this is actually a birthday present I've wrapped up, and I've chosen this especially for my sister-in-law. So I need those. I've got some ribbon to decorate it with. I think this silver ribbon will go beautifully with it. What else am I going to need? I'm also going to do some heat embossing. I'm going to show you how we do that. And I'm going to heat emboss a sentiment on a scalloped edged circle, and so therefore to do my heat embossing I'm going to need some Versamark, and the stamp set that I'm using is Picture Perfect Birthday, which comes out at the beginning of January. And even though this is a birthday present, I found a sentiment that's called Treat Yourself, so we're going to use that, and we're going to put that on our scalloped edge tag to put on the front of our box, and then I'm going to heat emboss it with this stamp on it, so I'll show you how to do that. And just need scissors, bit optional, but you can use the bone folder. I've got some double-sided tape and all the other bits that I need to do some heat embossing. So without further ado, let's get going. So the first thing I need to do is to trim this paper, and I need it to be trimmed to 8 1/4 by 11 1/2, and I'm going to do that using my paper trimmer, because this project as well is going to require some quite intricate measurements, and so the paper trimmer is the best thing to do that with. Got that handy little thing there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the scoring part out of the way and just use the blade. So this short edge needs to be 8 1/4, so I shall line it up at 8 1/4. Make sure that it's right up against that barrier there, and then it's only going to shave off the end of that there, but I'm just going to send the blade up, and it just shaves that little bit off there. And then this side needs to be 11 1/2, so that's just gone slightly off camera. So I'm going to line that at 11 1/2. Line that up there. Make sure the whole length is up against that guard there to make sure it's square. And I'm just going to trim the bottom off there. Quick, easy and accurate. While we've got this out, we're going to get the blade down here, so we're not going to use that. So on the short side of this piece of cardstock, I want to get a measurement here of 5 1/2. Just line that up there. Then we're going to just get the scoring part of it, and I'm just going to score that line there. Just do that a couple of times. You might not be able to see, you probably can just see while I'm filming I can just see that. So we've got this score line here. We're then going to turn this paper round and we are going to score at 2 3/4, 5 1/2, and then 8 1/4. Be careful with your measurements, check them before you score. And then we'll do another one at 11. Just line that up there. I'll just put that paper scorer down to one side for now. So what we've got a long line here towards the bottom of the paper, 2 skinny rectangles there, and then we've got 4 rectangles there. So you're going to take your scissors, and what we need to do is to get rid of that skinny rectangle there. And all I'm going to do is just cut up the score line, and just cut up as accurately as possible. So I'm just going to cut up there. And then what I'm going to do is just come into here and just snip into that corner, like that. And then at the top, so we've got the score line here, this very narrow piece here, and again just cut up into that corner up to that score line. And then what we have there is a tab. So what we're going to do as well, we're going to get bone folder and we're going to fold and burnish all of these score lines. So fold and then just press it down so we get a nice crisp fold. Fold along there. Fold along there. And then we will fold along this bottom score line here. Then what we're going to do, we've got these 4, actually we've got 3, 1, 2, 3 score lines there, and then this score line here. We're going to snip up to each of these, just up to that first line, up there and up there. I'm just going to do that now. So just up to that first score line, and these flaps will form the bottom of our box. Okay, and now we need to do some sticking. So we're going to get some double-sided tape, or you can use wet glue. Really doesn't matter. Wet glue obviously will just take a little bit longer to dry, but you're likely to be more accurate. So all I'm going to do is just put this double-sided tape right up to the edge of that card. Right up to the edge. Going to take off that release paper. So there's the tab there, and I'm just going to fold this over there like that, line it up accurately so that the raw edge of that side matches the fold line, and then just push that down like that. So we've got the start of our box. So where we've stuck that down there, that's going to be the back of the box. We'll fold those 2 in, and then we'll fold that back one down. And then what we're going to do, I'm just going to put a piece of double-sided tape here just to stick onto the to the other side of the box there. hold that down there and then push that over. And there we have our box. And the lost the gift. So now what I've bought, I can just sit in there like that. And now we're ready to do the top of the box. Now this is where the more intricate measurements are. So you need to just take your time over this and don't rush it, because the measurements are they are very precise to make sure that the top of this box actually fits over the bottom of the box without it being too tight, but then also without it being too loose. So what we're going to do, we're going to get our paper trimmer back that we're going to use for scoring, and you'll see that we've got the inches there, and we can see 1/4 inches, we can see 1/8 inches, but we've also got 1/16 on there as well, and it is 1/16 that we're going to be using. So only 4 score lines on this, 2 on each side. Make sure that blade is out of the way, and we are going to make a score line at 4 10/16. So there's 4, 1/2 inch is 8/16, and I'm just going to go 1, 2. So I've gone to 4, then 8/16, 9/16, 10/16. Hope you can see that. Again, just take your time over that. Make sure it's pushed up against these barriers here so that you're going to get a nice square score line. Get the scoring part of it, and just do a score line there. We're then going to move this along to 7 7/16. So 1/2, 7 1/2 is 8/16. Oh, I need to come back one. Yes, sorry. So 7 7/16. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Always check. It only takes a couple of seconds to check, and if you didn't and put the score line in the wrong place, that's a piece of paper wasted really. So check a couple of times before you put that score mark in. And you're going to turn it around, and you're going to do exactly the same. So we go to 4 10/16. That's not square above there, so I need to make sure that that's right, and I'm going to check my measurements one more time because that wasn't right there. 8, 9, 10. Push it up to that barrier, make a score mark, and then again up to 7 7/16. And then that's done. Put that paper trimmer to one side now. So what we're looking at here, we have that this way round. We've got 2 score lines in the centre there, and then we've got big squares in the corner, in each corner, and then we have rectangles here, here, here and here. That's what you'll be looking at. So this is what we're going to do first. We are going to cut up each of those score lines up to that first score line. And you want these nice and accurate. Try not to snip at them and just actually do long cuts. A bigger pair of scissors would actually be a lot better. So I've got that there like that, and then I'm going to turn it around 180 degrees, and I'm going to do exactly the same. So I'm going to cut up that score line. Up to there. And that one up to there. Then I'm going to try and find some bigger scissors. So I'm back with my bigger scissors. Now let's look at this again. Big squares in the corners, and then these long rectangles. And what I'm going to do here, with this big square, I'm going to cut up into that corner. So from there, and I'm going to cut up into that corner. Now, why are we doing this? We're doing it so that we can actually create this box. And these are the tabs just to be able for it to all come together. So we stick these actually to the sides of the boxes. You'll see what's happening in a minute. So we do that one there. And then I'm going to cut exactly the same here, just up to the corner on that first score line. And then you're just going to chop a big chunk off there. And you're going to do that there, on this side, and then on both of these. If we didn't do this wedging into the corners, we run the risk of some overlap, which won't look particularly nice. So I'm going to do exactly the same there, right into that corner, and then just chop a chunk off there. Whiz it round. And really with this project, this is the only waste that's going on with this project. It's the only waste that you're going to get. I don't like making projects where there's lots of waste, and there isn't too much in this one. And it's a nice way of being able to wrap a larger present. A lot of the tutorials that I've got on my YouTube channel are for small 3D projects, so this is a good one to make something just a little bit larger. So watch I don't cut into the other bit of card. And then just chop that chunk off there. Now what's going to happen with this, we've got that. What's going to happen is that we're going to fold all of those lines there. And then this will come round and that will attach to that. And the reason we've wedged into this like that, so there's no chance of any overlap, we have got a little bit there. So I'm just going to make a slight adjustment there, and I'm going to do that by getting my scissors and just taking another little bit off there, so that when I put that up like that, then there is no overlap. So that's going to go together like that, and that's going to form the lid of that box. So I'm going to fold and burnish all of these score lines. And then the construction of this box is almost done. All we need to do is just get some double-sided tape. So how we're going to do that is to flip this over. And I want to put, let's see if we can get that right, there we are. I want to put some tape on these score lines here, actually on these tabs. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to get my double-sided tape and just run that along that score line there. Now you can use wet glue for this. I just think wet glue is slightly easier in that you've got a little bit of room for manoeuvre. If you pull the flap back up to the main part of the box, if it's not quite in the right place and you've used double-sided tape, it will just stick straight away and you won't be able to wiggle it about in place so that it's accurate. You can do that with wet glue. You just have to wait a bit for it to, just for the glue to grab, and then waiting for it to dry. And if you're trying to get these done in a bit of a hurry, then that's going to be frustrating. But they're going to be more accurate. And I'm rushing at this a little bit because I'm trying to not bore you by you watching me just sticking bits of double-sided tape onto some card. So put those on there. This is how this goes together. I'm going to just take the backing paper off of this. I won't take that off yet because I'll probably get myself stuck to it. So hopefully you can see this. So there's the tab that we're going to attach the main part of our box to. And we're going to pull this over to here so that this cut edge meets as accurately as possible that folded edge. And you just meet them there. I've got to try and do this without putting my head in shot. And then just push that down like that. Now what I need to do, which hasn't worked, is just chop this little bit off here. Without cutting everything up. Bear with me. I haven't chopped enough off of that tab. So then I've got this side. So there's the tab. It's got my glue on it. There's my free edge. And I'm just going to bring that up there. Get the free edge to meet the folded edge. And then press it down. Now I can do the other side. But what I'm going to do before I do that, because I can see straight away what's going to happen, I just want to cut a little bit more off these tabs. So I'll take the backing paper off of here. Now, as the box starts to come together, this is when you run the risk of getting stuck to the side that you don't want it to get stuck to. So again, free edge, folded edge. Free edge comes onto the outside, meets the folded edge, and stick it down. And then you've got to tuck that one in without getting all stuck to it. And then the last free edge up to that folded edge. And there we have the top of our box. It's the moment of truth. So there's the bottom of our box with the gift in it. And then I'm going to put the top over like that. Oh, and it doesn't want to go in. There we are. I just love that monochrome look with the black and white together there. I just think that's really, really stylish. And the reason we've had to have those 1/16 of inch measurements is so that this has got room just to move. If that was the same width of that, it would just be too tight. This would then go out of shape. So the next thing we're going to do is I just need to get the ribbon on it. And I think the silver ribbon with the monochrome is really pretty. Can you see what I've done there? Just put that there like that, and I'm just going to put at the moment a loose bow just to keep it in place. Because what I'm going to do now is deal with the sentiment. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to do a bit of heat embossing. So I need a piece of card. And I've got my sentiment and I've got my block. So I've put that on there. And then I need the Versamark. And I'm just going to just dab that in the Versamark and then just put that on there like that. Lift it off. You can't see it. You can just about see it if you shine it in the light. So what we're going to do now, because I'm using powder, I need to just get a piece of paper so that I can catch the excess powder and put it back in the pot. Actually, what I forgot to do, really sorry, I should have used the embossing buddy. So I'm going to turn that round and we're going to start again. I'm going to get my embossing buddy and I'm going to do that. Now, you might say, what were you doing that for? It takes just all the grease and the static off of your card. I've tried to do heat embossing without doing this and it just was messy. So you cannot get away with not using that. So I'm just going to wipe the top of that on there. And then I'm going to take my stamp, dab it in the Versamark like that, and then try not to get it upside down. And I'm just going to put that on there like that. That's better. Then I'm going to get my silver embossing powder and I'm just going to cover where I've just stamped all over that. Make sure it's all covered up. And then what I'll do is then just tap the excess off. And make sure there's no spare powder on there. So just while I'm here, I'm just going to get rid of this, because once I get the heating tool out, all of that will just set. So just get rid of that. Put that to one side. Put the lid on. And then this is where the magic happens. I've got my heat tool, and then I've got the Versamark and the embossing powder over it. Turn on my heat tool, and then watch this. I don't know if you'll be able to see this on camera. As you heat it up, it'll go in a minute. There we are. I don't know if you can see that. It then just turns this beautiful silvery colour. And then I'm going to get my scallop punch . And because the heat makes the paper buckle slightly, I'm going to put that in there like that. Line it up. Happy with that. And punch it out. And so we're left with that. And then I'm going to get some of these dimensionals, which I'm going to stick onto the back of the... Because what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and I'm going to put that there like that. So I need to put, as accurately as possible, some dimensionals just there. Oops, slightly out of shot there, sorry. There and there. Might want a couple of those. Take the backing off. Take my project and untangle my ribbon. And then what I want to do, I don't want to put that there actually. What I'm going to do is just change this slightly, because I've got the seam there. I don't want to be able to see that. I want that right at the back. Put that there like that. Tie up the top. Silver goes lovely with that black and white. It really does look lovely. And then here I'm going to take that, and then I'm just going to put that central. And there we have it. We need to tidy this up. I'm rubbish with bows, but I'll do my best with it. That's just really not very good. I never tried to do bows, and knot always looks better for me. Just trim that off there, and there we have. That could just be nice as a birthday present, Christmas present, and you wouldn't necessarily have to heat emboss that. You could just use normal stamping, or you can make a gift tag, whatever you wanted to do. But to wrap a bigger present without having to try and wrap that in Christmas or birthday paper. I've got another one here. I buy loads of these. If you try to wrap that in wrapping paper, it's just not going to look very nice. If you buy a gift bag, they might be too small or too big, and also it does give the element of surprise away. Something like that just looks so much more stylish when they open it. I hope you like this project. Please subscribe if you want to see other videos, and all the links to my shop, to my blog, to my Instagram page, to my Facebook page, they are all in the links below. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you very much for joining me. See you all again soon. Bye bye.